Next time you watch a match, look closely at that starting lineup graphic, the neat rows of a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3. It's a lie. To see why, we have to rewind to the late 19th century. Back then, teams operated in a 1-1-8 framework, 1 defender, 8 forwards, and a style of play that prioritized individual dribbling over any kind of collective structure. In 1886, the offside rule was revised to allow forward passes. This change provided a massive incentive to move the ball between players rather than running with it, catalyzing a passing revolution that allowed smaller, physically weaker teams to compete through cooperation. Watch how this uncoordinated swarm smoothly reorganizes into a symmetrical shape: 2 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 5 forwards. This is the British Pyramid, the first standardized attempt to mathematically balance attack and defense. This exact blueprint carried Uruguay to consecutive Olympic golds and the inaugural 1930 World Cup, establishing the 2-3-5 as the global standard. By legalizing the forward pass, rulemakers triggered an endless tactical arms race, a century-long battle to organize 11 players to dictate exactly where the ball moves on the pitch. Look at how this shape morphs. When the offside rule was tweaked again in 1925, Herbert Chapman at Arsenal dropped a forward and pulled a midfielder back to create the WM shape. This introduced the double pivot, 2 defensive midfielders used to control the central pitch. In the 1950s, Brazil reacted with an even more aggressive 4-2-4. They utilized a front line of 4 forwards to sweep away defenders and open corridors for creative playmakers. This concentration of attacking talent made Brazil virtually unstoppable throughout that era. To counter this, Italian coaches developed Catenaccio, or the doorbolt. See this single dot pacing behind the defensive line? That is the Libero, a free-roaming sweeper positioned to cover gaps and intercept breakthroughs. Formations never evolved in a vacuum. Every new attacking weapon eventually forced a defensive revolution. By the late 20th century, English football became synonymous with the flat 4-4-2. In this diagram, you can see why. 2 horizontal banks of 4 moving in unison, denying central space and providing total horizontal coverage. But the system had a mathematical flaw. If an opponent played with 3 midfielders against the 4-4-2's 2, they could form a triangle and pass the ball effortlessly around the central block. Now watch as the dots shift into a modern 4-3-3. This structure naturally creates a web of passing triangles and diamonds, providing the player in possession with multiple short passing options at all times. Johann Cruyff refined this through a philosophy called juego de posición, or positional play. He argued that the team's shape was only as good as the player's ability to occupy space correctly. See this grid overlay? Cruyff and Pep Guardiola utilized these zones to ensure no more than 3 players ever occupy the same horizontal plane, and no more than 2 occupy the same vertical plane. This spatial discipline ensures passing lanes are never blocked by teammates. The arms race shifted from simply placing players in a shape to choreographing their movement within a strict geometric grid. While positional play is about organized possession, modern matches are often decided in the 8-second window immediately after the ball changes hands, the transition phase. Some managers use a deep low block to bait the opponent forward. By packing 10 players into the penalty box, they concede the ball but force the opponent's defensive line high up the pitch, leaving vast empty space behind them for a counterattack. Others use Gegenpressing. Instead of retreating, players instantly swarm the ball carrier to win possession back high up the pitch before the opponent can organize a passing sequence. Managers like Jurgen Klopp turned this frantic physical swarm into a structured trap, using body positioning to block passing lanes and force turnovers in dangerous areas. Whether a team drops deep or presses high, modern tactical success often relies on how effectively a squad handles those few seconds where the ball is in contest. Modern tactics use specific roles to manipulate space. Take the false 9. The center forward drops into midfield. When the center back follows, a hole opens for the wingers. Or the inverted fullback. Moving into the center circle creates a 4 versus 3 numerical advantage, making progression easier. Goalkeepers have even evolved into extra outfield players, drawing the opponent's press to open up vertical passing lanes. Masterminds like Pep Guardiola use these fluid innovations to achieve spatial superiority, moving players through different zones to constantly pull defenders out of position. Those pre-match formations are just a starting point. In the modern game, teams may defend in a 4-4-2, build up in a 3-2-5, and attack in a 2-4-4, relying on players who can recognize and react to changing spatial gaps in an instant.